I guarantee you right now, no one can find a YouTube channel, specifically a YouTube channel, that has better cold opens than us. I know for a fact that does not exist. And if it did exist,
Fair.
I definitely don't have one in our podcast. It is formulated from the get-go, and then we jump into just talking with the guests. So cold opens are definitely, it's something it's almost like an art form in a sense.
It is an art form. It's an art form. It's like the mid-range jumper. It's a lost art form.
Lost art.
It's still appreciated, you know.
Yeah, man. Seriously, like, yo, y'all, let's get some motherfucking mid-range going. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like
the magic is in the mid-range.
I felt like this torch was very Tank Girl, and so I'm gonna like use it in the cold open.
Oh, fuck yes. Yes. I
feel like it's very
that.
Tank Girl.
What you mean you're gonna use it in the cold open? This is the cold open.
Oh, well, I mean, let me light my blunt then, boys. Fuck.
Oh, damn. That looks beautiful. It looks something out of Futurama, and very Tank Girly. It's got that futuristic.
Dude, that does look like something out of Futurama. I like, oh shit. Say something so it goes to you.
It's like retro.
Hey, just using this fucking dope ass blowtorch in honor of Tank Girl. This blunt's for her.
Hello, you beautiful nerds. I'm Jedi Master Grayson.
And I'm your favorite cousin's favorite cousin, Bill.
And this is Does It Hold Up? The show where we revisit classic genre films to see if they're as good or as bad as we remember. And we may get drunk while we do it. Or high. We be getting altered over here. Not mandatory, but always encouraged. But we can't do it alone. We are joined, as always, by a special guest to help us determine if this film stands the test of time.
That's right. Tip your hats, ladies and gentlemen, for Charles Fuocco.
What's up, guys? It's good to be back. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, as you guys can tell from the thumbnail, today we are talking about the 1995 sci-fi action comedy Tank Girl, based on the British comic book of the same name.
It's British?
Yeah, started in a and the character is actually Australian, or like the character is in the outback of Australia, which explains the kangaroo-ness of the movie.
It does.
I don't think they really explained that in this.
So it was Aborigine that was the kangaroos.
Right. Yeah, not black people.
They are black.
They
racist.
They
I
said
knew he was racist.
They did. I don't want to jump ahead, but they did say like how they were created and why they were created, and they did have like past lives before being created into these creatures, and one of them was even a dog before.
Right.
Yeah.
A dingo.
They got wild with it. It was like, hey, let's try a fucking dog. Why not?
Hey,
end of the world. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what?
I cannot wait to get into specifically the performances of all that. That was just a very interesting part of this movie. But
all that also a good television show. Go check it out.
It
does hold up. Spoiler alert.
It does hold up. So does Heavyweights. Those are other movies, by the way. Never mind. Moving on.
But this movie came out in 95. It's a very divisive movie as far as audiences and critics. Audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 63%.
I think that holds up. I think that holds up, though.
I mean,
we'll talk about it, but I think that 63 holds up.
Okay. You think that's accurate? Like that's
that's the crazy thing about cult films.
What's the crazy thing about cult films?
They usually have a really good rating as far as the audience goes, but critics usually don't like it.
Yeah, because it's its own like unique little niche most of the time. That's why it's a cult film. So it's like
right.
No, absolutely niche.
It does have a 41% critics rating. The critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is, quote, while unconventional, Tank Girl isn't particularly clever or engaging, and none of the script's copious one-liners have any real zing. Which is a little harsh.
Sounds like it came out of a critic's ass. That's right.
Yeah, right. It's a very criticky, flowery language.
Can I try to read this?
Well, before we get into the description of I guess we'll go ahead and get to the description, then we'll go over like
I could try
the initial thoughts. Yeah,
it's gonna be a first.
Go for it
for the show. Quick description of the film. After a comet disrupts the rain cycle of Earth, the planet has become a desolate, barren desert by the year 2033. Not far from
33. Yeah. Kind of a 10 year.
10 years away, guys. Get ready. 10 years away.
Get ready.
You ready for that comet?
You know what? Wait, you know that there is supposed to be a comet coming by, though, right? Or an asteroid.
It's on its way, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Oh, this movie.
So, yeah.
This movie is predicting.
Touching on some sensitive subjects.
Sorry to interrupt, Bill.
Oh, no, please interrupt. Because you know what? I'm going to do the rest like Tank Girl. With the resources scarce.
I love it.
Castle. Wait, who?
Kessel. Kesley? Yeah, Kesley.
Kesley, head of the powerful and evil Water and Power Corporation, the de facto government. They have taken control of the water supply, unwilling to cower under Khaleesi's tyrannical Tank Girl and Jet Girl rise up, joining the mysterious rebel rippers to destroy the corrupt system.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, because you got the spirit of her, like, because no one can really do Lori Petty's voice other than
that's
Lori
a real voice. Like, at first I had a lot of issues watching it. The first time I watched it, that's
really
that's what we do to start. That's what we do the show with. We start like with, how did you feel the first time you watched Tank Girl? Is this the first time you watched Tank Girl? And for me, the first time I watched Tank Girl, I was like, yo, this girl Lori, she racist. Why she doing all the black talking and like, hey, you want to say it? You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, I don't like this. Then I watched it again and I was like, you know what? Maybe she talks like this. So I Googled her.
Maybe this is just her.
Found some interviews and she just talks like that.
Yeah.
That's just how she talks. Makes her a significantly worse actor.
Yeah, it's almost like if you didn't know of her and had seen her in previous things, you might think she's playing a huge caricature.
Right.
But, as we've seen in many of the other things, including most recently, like Orange is the New Black, that is her voice. That is how she talks. And it's probably vastly different for her to deviate from that. But I have seen her play, very straight characters and stuff. But she's a character actress. You know what I mean? She's a brilliant character actress.
Brilliant. 10 years ahead of her time in almost everything that she does.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned ahead of your time. I really want to touch on that a little bit later. But Chuckie, do you remember do you remember how you felt the first time you saw Tank Girl?
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure I watched it on some type of tube TV for sure. I don't think I was on a flat screen at that point. And I loved it. I mean, I'd like to say it was like in that realm, and I'm not sure when Spawn came out, but it was in that realm of like comic book movies trying to be better than they'd ever been. Mainly because like with comic book movies back in the day, it's just like it was hard for me to connect to comic book movies because they just hadn't like found the right producers and directors to like hit the stride of what like really needs to be kind of put on screen for a comic book movie to like really come through. And what I remember as a young kid watching it was just how angsty and over the top it was. And, there were certain moments where like as a kid and you're watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you're like, how did they just get through that? Like, but that's kind of what they're going for in this film is they're going for, I might hit somebody over the head, but it's not going to look like I hit them hard and they might get knocked out. It's like that. That's kind of the angsty stuff that they're going for. And then I also remember that I don't think this was one of the first movies that did it, but I feel like they did it pretty well with including actual, shots of, the comic book itself throughout the movie. It wasn't just in the beginning. It wasn't just at the end in the intro or outro. It was literally like kind of little transitions in order to kind of, you know, move the movie along.
Right.
So as a young kid, I loved it. It was brilliant. It was funny. It hit, you know, a vibe that wasn't hit. There wasn't really many powerful like girl characters out there that were like sassy, talked back, did their own thing, like took a lot of like getting beat up and stuff like that. Like it was definitely, and plus she's smoking cigars and like cigarettes and, you know, and stuff like that. And
doing things that girls do.
It's just a different vibe. It's a different vibe. But
no, you're absolutely right. I think that it was really one of the best points that you made. Well, you made two good points. I want to thank you. Get that point. I'm pointing. Like women, this movie was rated R when it came out. I don't know what maybe they've changed the rating by now or something like that, but it was rated R, and there is nothing R about this movie. And the only reason it got an R rating was because of what you just said. Like women were not portrayed like this on television or movies ever before this movie. So
I mean, right off the bat, she's in power, bro. When she walks into her boyfriend, who we kind of know is her boyfriend, but like she asked him to strip for her. Like, what woman in any film around that time was asking or demanding a guy with gunpoint to like strip and be in control?
The men were the only ones who were sexualized in this movie. Really, like, you know, there aren't any like super, you know, it's the shot of
she's sexualized.
Well, not as like
I'm saying, like, to your point, she's the only female sexualized in this movie, and it's all on her own volition, not like
but her butt, like the film isn't sexualizing her. Right, like you know, you don't get like a shot like from Transformers where, you know, like where, you know, we get the ass shot of Megan Fox over the motorcycle,
which I'm not mad at. I'm just saying there's no reason to do such things.
I just to say, like, my first time seeing the movie, I definitely saw it like maybe 15, 20 years ago, but I had a very vague memory of it. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's a movie I saw on TV. Sunday.
No, you know who I think showed
Comedy
us this
Central.
Hey, we didn't have streaming back then.
This movie
we did not have streaming, you know.
No, we didn't. And I think me and Alex watched this on DVD or VHS with my friend Molly Cosby. Pretty sure Molly Cosby is the one who introduced us to Tank Girl in high school.
That would make sense. Molly Cosby also taught me how to tie a tie. Fun fact.
Hey, shout out Molly.
She taught me how to tie a tie as well. You know, Molly Cosby, you're like our father.
She's pretty much our dad.
Shout out to her, right?
Shout out to our dad, Molly. No.
Okay, good. That would be weird. I'm glad you didn't, because that dad reference would have been weird.
Shout out to my dad, Molly Cosby. But I don't really remember this movie or didn't remember it that well. So like rewatching it was a wholly new experience. It was pretty great. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. Just to get into the nitty gritty. Since we're already talking about her, let's talk about
what we're talking about.
Let's talk about Lori Petty for a little bit, please, and thank you. What did you guys think of Lori Petty as Tank Girl, like specifically? Like, Chuckie, what did you think of our titular character?
I mean, one of a kind. You know what I mean? Like, I even think to this day, you know, I don't want to, like, you know, shots fired over here, but like when we're talking about Harley Quinn, you know, like the most recent, she would have been such a good Harley Quinn. I think she could still do it 100%. Nothing down on, you know, was it Margot? Is that her name? Margot Robbie?
Yeah,
Is that her
Robbie.
name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing down on her. You did a great job. You know, like it's, you know, very believable, but that's the one thing I thought rewatching this was like, man, she is a one of a kind actress that can really deliver and give that almost Jim Carrey type, like, you know, I don't know, like, performance where you're just kind of captivated in this character that she
I
creates.
like that you said Jim Carrey-esque, like, because that is a very good, like, people who aren't really familiar with Jim Carrey's work may think he's just like this crazy silly dude, but there's a method to that. And
Yes.
you are absolutely right. That was a very Jim Carrey-esque like performance, or Jack Nicholas, like type.
I'm surprised she didn't get more off of this movie. Maybe she
Mm.
did, and I just didn't pay attention. But like,
no,
I would have expected her to
ended her movie career after this.
That's crazy. Like, just how the times have changed. Because I was thinking also, if this movie came out right now, it would blow up. Like, I feel like there's so many girls that would connect to this movie. And like, I mean,
absolutely.
like
that's one of the things I was thinking about a lot when I was watching this. Is like, this would, like, I'm hoping that there will be a remake of this movie, because I think that this would be a perfect time for it, because you definitely see a lot of inspiration. Like, I would not be surprised if James Gunn was like, oh yeah, I was very inspired by Tank Girl when I made Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
Because it has that sort of quippy humor. And some of it doesn't,
one-liners.
It has like a lot of one-liners. Some of it, in my opinion, doesn't really like super land, because I like, I think this is before people really figured out the formula of that kind of balancing the comedy action.
Yes.
Do we
glad that you brought that up, because Chuckie brought it up earlier about the cutting to the comic book scenes. Like, I didn't like that.
I wasn't. Honestly, I wasn't a fan of that either.
I thought like, this comic book movie is trying really hard to let us know we did not divert from the source material. Like, as crazy as you think this is just what we had to work with. Like, it was a ridiculous admission that this is a source material.
I mean, I wasn't mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't get bored when it came up or anything like that. I don't know. I wasn't mad at it. I'm okay with it. I think it was,
it was a different. Got you on the record, sir. You can't go back.
All right. No, yeah, I'm gonna stand with it.
I'm curious.
10 toes down.
Did you read the Tank Girl comics at all?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea about them. Never read them. And then when you said it's from the UK, I mean, that was news to me. That's pretty cool.
That's what you come here for. That's what you come here
today,
for.
But yeah, it is interesting. Like, I mean, I thought it was just like, I did like the way that it introed with the comic book panels and like stuff from the comics accounts, like kind of the way that Mallrats opened up. But I felt like it just kind of detracted from, like, I like going and like watching YouTube videos, which is like where it's a side-by-side comparison. It's like, oh, you can see how this frame of the movie is like what they were trying to capture from this frame of the comic book. But I don't like, I didn't appreciate like them doing that in the movie itself. But just to get back to Lori Petty, what were you about to say?
Mallrats, does it hold up?
Yeah, we can put that on the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah,
put Mallrats on the list.
Put
that's a good
survey says.
No, by the way, we're gonna have a vote. Just some little house cleaning since we just brought that up.
Hey, might as well do an interjection.
We're gonna do a little vote.
This video was brought to you by.
No, we're just gonna do a little vote on the channel soon, where you guys can just like vote on the next next movie we're gonna be covering on Does It Hold Up. But I just wanted to say with Lori Petty, I really liked her comedic parts of the movie, or comedic performance of the movie. There were some times where she was like supposed to be kind of intimidating, where I didn't super buy it. Like I didn't feel like she had a good mean face. But
they loved putting contacts on her though, didn't they?
Yeah, now I did. I did like a couple of the, like, there was this one scene where I think that the contacts were doing a lot of the work, where she had a good mean face.
Was it the tank scene when she gets pulled out of the tank and she's got like,
yeah,
that one. Look at that. Oh, she's cold. That's what it was, because she's in the freezer.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if this is what happens to your eyes after you're in the freezer for too long, but I'm still with it.
See, this is why I said I liked the vibe that this movie puts out, because it's very comic book world. You know what I mean? Like, some of it's zany, some of it's pow and bang and all that, but then you get this like kind of like darker side, where her hair, like, it looks like her hair's falling out, you know what I mean? And her eyes are like, like it's very nitty gritty to some points too, especially with the torture, and then the mention of like pedophilia at the sex club. It's trying to kind of be that nitty gritty, and it's true. I mean, you just said it, Alex. It's like I think they struggled a little bit to find that balance between the two, for sure.
Yeah, only because it felt it felt more like, sometimes she felt more like Bugs Bunny than like Star-Lord.
Great.
Like, if you
great.
It's very true. It was very Looney Toony.
Except I wouldn't say, I'm really fucking about to get really nerdy right now.
So watch out.
Fast forward 10 seconds if you want.
Put your seatbelts on, everybody.
But it's more like Daffy Duck.
Okay.
Than Bugs.
Pre-jealousy era.
Does she not have a Daffy Duck tattoo? I think she has.
She probably does.
I think in the very beginning, if my mind corrects me.
Comments.
Yeah, that it's either Daffy Duck or Donald. Who's the one with the very orange beak and the black fur?
No. Oh yeah, that's Daffy. That's Daffy.
So I think she's got a Daffy Duck like tattoo in the comic book, like on her arm right here, on her right arm.
That's amazing. Like,
I'm actually gonna look that up because I think I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex is trying to find it, but it's not in the movie probably, but it's probably in the comic book if you read it like that.
But what did you think of Lori Petty specifically?
She's like, I don't want to marry her. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, this is probably the hottest she's.
You gotta quit bringing up this goddamn. You gotta quit putting these pictures up for her. It's distracting. I can't really get through the podcast. But anyway, this isn't a podcast. This is a television show.
This is regular ass TV.
Shout out to YouTube TV. Put us on it.
Yeah, and like, weirdly, Naomi Watts is in this movie too. I didn't realize.
Oh, I'm so glad that you just brought. Man, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was gonna forget to mention that Naomi Watts' worst performance in life is in this movie. I don't know if this is her first movie, but
Bill is hating.
Dude. Naomi, I know you don't watch this movie often, but you should watch this. You should rewatch this movie.
Oh man,
because this is like the worst parts of me. And I feel like you can, like, it's like watching game tape. If you're a fucking NFL player, NBA player, like, you watch the tape, but you don't watch the tape you're doing good. You watch the tape where you do bad. So you figure out where you can, like, improve. You know what I'm saying? And then you've improved. But this shit right here, good God. The child in this movie, way better actor.
Damn.
Her boyfriend, Tank Girl's boyfriend, Rebecca's boyfriend.
Damn.
Way better actor.
Okay.
It's just bad. Sorry, Naomi. We're just honest on this show. We're movie critics.
Naomi, I was fine with your performance. Don't listen to Brother Bill.
Alex, what did you think about her performance?
Yeah, I didn't think that. I didn't think that it was that strong, especially like knowing, seeing, Naomi Watts. She has some iconic performances. The Ring.
I'm not gonna tell y'all what he said off pod. I'm not gonna say what he said off pod. Okay, that's not what I'm gonna do.
But yeah, she's a really great actress. And one of the things I kind of thought about, like halfway through the movie, is like, did she try out to be like Tank Girl initially? And they're like, we like you, but we see you more as Jet Girl.
We like you, but you can't act at all.
Yeah, I wonder how that went down. I wonder if she'd get it.
I doubt it, because Lori Petty is the perfect person for that role, and like, her whole personality naturally is Tank Girl. From what I'm saying, like, if you're looking at it as a fucking casting director, you're gonna just look at it like, oh, I don't need, like, you probably that's probably the reason the movie got greenlit. Like,
probably
Lori Petty, what can we do with this? Let's do this source material for this property we purchased 6 years ago.
There was another actress. I wish I wrote it down, but there's another actress who was contracted to play Tank Girl before Lori Petty accepted the role, and she was in training for 4 months, and until she had to drop out of the movie, or she quit the movie, I guess, or was fired because she refused to cut her hair.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I would have had that conversation before you do 4 months of training.
Yes.
So that means that Lori Petty got the job because she was basically Tank Girl already. Because the other girl wouldn't do it.
Wow.
They were just like, well, we didn't got to ask her to cut her
hair. Well, I think it's probably a specific style. Oh, I don't know what Lori Petty's hair.
It was always funky. That's what I'm saying. Like
it was always funky. Yeah.
Yeah, she don't care.
Yeah, she was getting.
Let's get the girl who just don't care.
Yeah, she definitely in that regard. She's a lot more punk rock, kind of probably the perfect actress for the role at the time. And she's iconic leading actress in the 90s. You know, she had a lot of really big roles. But
Chuckie, you mentioned earlier that this movie came out around the time of like Spawn. Like time that people,
because I feel like Spawn was in the 90s, right?
Book movies.
Yeah.
You know, you were really close because Spawn came out in 97. This came out in 95. So
there we go.
Back to back. And they probably made this movie when Spawn came out. Like,
and I mean, what, you know, like let's
I mean, Spawn probably made their movie when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And if we can, you know, let's hark on, you know, the effects in both of those movies, Tank Girl and Spawn. Amazing costume work throughout the whole thing. Like,
I mean, Ice-T looked like Ice-T as a kangaroo. Like his
as a kangaroo
face looks like him as a kangaroo.
Let's talk about Ice-T as T-Train, or what was his name?
His name was he raped her.
T-Saint.
T-Saint.
What did
they call me T-Saint.
What did you think of Ice-T's performance as T-Saint? Like this kangaroo hybrid, Chuck?
I mean, I think it was great. Like, I think that, you know, the movie, like at the time when they're like at the Two Rocks looking for the entrance to, you know, their spot, you know, the movie kind of just changes vibes completely. Like, once again, not vibes, but like there's a new kind of uplift to it, because, you know, before this you're thinking Tank Girl is just by herself with Jet Girl, and you know, what's going to happen from here. And then they come in, he starts to, you know, do the interrogation, and, you know, he plays the character very, very well. You know, he used to be a cop, you know, when he was a human, and it comes out perfectly. I mean, I think we all know that that Ice-T can play a cop. I think we're definitely on board to know that right by now. Yeah,
I used to be a cop, and so this is after New Jack City. I'm glad that you brought up that he was a cop, because in New Jack City he plays a cop,
and now he's on what, like
maybe
NYCS or whatever it's called, NCYS.
We don't say other shows' names on this show.
Okay,
except 9 Nerd Yards.
Wait. Sorry.
Because they don't pay us over there at BCN. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk about networks.
Are you I'm sorry, are you positing that this character
Yes, I am. Go ahead and finish saying what you're saying.
Is the same character from New Jack City?
That is exactly what I'm saying. This character,
I love it,
is the same character that Ice-T played in New Jack City. Ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking news. Or at least I haven't read it anywhere on the internet. And so I'm letting you know here first. This is actually it. Because people don't understand. This movie set off his career as a real actor.
Did it?
Like, yeah, this is his first.
So even though Tank Girl tanked, like, it set off his career.
He got paid probably more than anyone else on the movie.
Oh, wow.
Because he got paid a lot of money. I can't remember exactly how much he said, but he got paid a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I'll let you know.
Well, he also was part of the soundtrack, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was also part of the
more
soundtrack.
money.
Yeah, he did have a song on the soundtrack for sure.
Which is more money. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so, and you're saying that he's this character?
Yes. I want to shoot you so bad, my dick is hard. I want to shoot you so bad, my dick is hard.
And that character was turned into kangaroo.
Into a kangaroo.
I love that. I love that theory. But Ice-T was offered a lot of money for this movie. He said in an interview, "My first real check was Tank Girl with Lori Petty playing a fucking kangaroo."
Yeah.
He said he
you want me to read this?
Yeah.
Where is it? Let you go. Quote, "They sent me a picture of a kangaroo." And I'm like, what the fuck? Am I not like with Keanu Reeves? What the fuck?
Because he was filming Johnny Mnemonic at the time.
Are we going backwards? Do I owe money? What's happening? They're going to pay you $1 million.
Wow.
I started hopping around the room like a fucking kangaroo. End quote.
There it is. There it is.
$1 million to make you jump. What did you think of his?
Motherfucker, right. If they pay me $1 million to play a kangaroo, I'd have fucking jumped off the fucking wall, like all off the walls. Bang, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong. I'd be like, the wonderful thing about tickers is tickers a wonderful thing.
Yeah, you get
I'd have grew a tail.
Money is a great motivator, and I will say for sure, this is the best performance of Ice-T's career. This was an incredible performance.
It's because they gave him $1 million.
Feel it?
He was
out. Did you feel it?
Acting his ass off.
Hell yeah, that motherfucker was so like, I gotta give this my all. I wanna shoot this movie so bad, my dick is hard.
Oh my God.
He was all the way in. Like I appreciated his like commitment to the character. Like sometimes, especially with like these like movies where you have to wear prosthetics and stuff, it takes away from the performance because you can't really see the emotionality through all the makeup and shit.
But they did a really good job with the prosthetics.
Yeah, they did a really great job.
It's like
earlier.
It's like, I mean, it is Lord of the Rings quality, if you ask me. I mean, it's not all in low light. Like, a lot of what we're seeing is like good lighting, and I don't see any seams. Like the ears are always moving independently. The tails are always moving independently. Like you can see them talk, like you guys just mentioned. We can actually see who these actors are, even though, it's almost like there was like some vampire movies that came out in the 90s that had some really good stuff that looked like this. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, Lord of the Rings quality. I mean, it was very well done. And, it was in the 90s. Like it was in the 90s. And I always hark back to this. I miss when movies had more prosthetic stuff like this.
Yes.
And absolutely. Less special effects.
Practical is practical, guys.
I know it's harder. I know it takes maybe more time
but it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, but it is cheaper. Yeah, that is very true.
Come on, look.
I miss it.
I can solve the writer's strike right now.
Stop
doing all this goddamn CGI.
There it is.
You overwork the CGI guys anyway. So you might as well, and they have no union. CGI people. They have no union. Mm-hmm. So you might as well just stop fucking working them as hard. Mm-hmm. Get better productivity out of them. And do more practical stuff and save money.
Only use it when you got to use it. Use it for low light situations.
Exactly.
Like if I ever see CGI used with like natural light, or it just looks horrible. And so I mean,
like
Dave.
I was just gonna say, like one of my favorite directors who uses CGI is David Fincher, because like he uses it so sparingly, like you wouldn't notice it. Like he like adds snow in scenes, or like there's like it's a different landscape in the background. Very sparing, you would never notice, and he just helps it like add to a scene And yeah, like I like to your point, like all this shit is like really cool. Like all the
you said Chucky said
and the makeup.
Chucky said Lord of the Rings, but probably the best blend of CGI and practical is Game of Thrones. They
Yes.
do a great blend, and they do it in a scientific way, like that makes sense.
And I will say this also. I'm gonna balance this out real quick.
No.
Because we're singing our praises right now to the prosthetics as they looked amazing.
Yeah.
But then we get to the finale of the movie. Okay.
Yes. Talk about it.
We get to the finale of the movie, and I see at least three separate occasions in the finale, which is when you don't want to see these things. I see the steel cords connected to the kangaroos, and I see a steel cord connected to one of the hatches of the airplanes. Why is there a steel cord opening up this hatch of this airplane? It should just pop open.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so it's when Jet Girl has her moment and she, shoots the dude who's trying to get in the jet at the end. If you look closely at the hatch that he's walking up to the airplane, you see the steel cord connected to the top of the hatch, pulling it open.
That's crazy.
And then there's two more occasions when the kangaroos are going off, killing everybody because their leader just died. Where you see a cord that's supposed to hop them away, but you're not supposed to see it as an audience member. So it kind of took me out. It definitely took me out. Yeah, let's see if we can see it.
Can you see
it might be. I think it might be right before this moment.
That was right before this.
Because he walks up to it and he's opening up the hatch, and then he turns around. Yeah, he turns around to her, but
we ain't got it.
Yeah, no, it threw me off. But it's one of those things where it's hard for me to see those things overlooked because it's a full clip in a movie, and did they run out of money in order to take that out? Like, what happened with all that? Because it was the finale too. It's like, did they shoot the finale last and they ran out of money to take that? Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. The movie kind of meanders a little bit, and I feel like the movie doesn't really.
The movie is bipolar.
It's kind of like a interesting comic book adaptation because it does feel like I'm reading issues of a comic book, where it's and then this happened, and this happened, and then this happened.
Yes. Yes.
Where it's not like she doesn't have I guess you would say a traditional dramatic question at the beginning of the movie.
There's no arc.
Where it's oh, this is the question that has to be answered for the movie.
There's no arc. There's no bend. It's a straight line.
Yeah. It's sort of go save the little girl, but I feel like she didn't even know the girl was still alive until she ran into the woman.
And then when the little girl runs into her, the moment that they have is just so horrible.
Yeah.
She's it's hey.
Yeah, it's not it's it should be oh my God, what's going on? You're here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it should be some kind of embrace and hug. They're just hey.
Yeah, they spent too much time on that dance number. That's what it was,
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's let's talk about, since we're already
no, I'm talking about it up.
Let's talk about the dance number. Bill, what did you
It's fucking waste of fucking money. What the fuck was that?
Use that money to take the steel cords out. Just
exactly. They wasted, but they ran out of money, didn't get the cords out. Why do we need this? This was so unnecessary. The movie shorter. This is what they got the R rating for. I'm telling you right now. It's nobody wanted to see this part, and I thought that was Patricia Arquette at first, but it's not. But yeah, this was
just
not good.
Even beyond.
This is where it meandered. This is why I said it's bipolar.
Yeah,
it's bipolar. Maybe the comic book's bipolar.
And who played the pedophile?
Who was the pedophile?
He was isn't he a rock star from back in the day?
I think it was Iggy Pop.
Yeah, it was Iggy Pop. Yeah. It was crazy. He had this a little why would you want to play a pedophile?
Yeah, why would you want that role?
For 12 seconds in a movie called Tank Girl. I'd be I'm a pass on that. I'm sorry. I don't
There's
I don't
so
know
many other roles to play.
I guess
so many
like
other roles.
I guess they did pick somebody where it's like, you know, it's not going to ruin his career because his career is already good to go. But it was just like, why would you want to play that, Iggy Pop? Like, why would you want to play that role?
Never did another role. But I don't think he ever was in another movie.
But
also,
beyond to like being
how much do you think he got paid since Ice-T got paid
not
$1
million? Yeah, he probably got just paid like you know, I don't know, SAG minimum at the time.
He was like the biggest rock musician though at the time, so that's probably why he got it.
Yeah,
because Cop killed him out at the time.
Bjork was also was supposed to have a cameo in the movie, but she like I guess it didn't work out. But her song did make it on. Actually, and one thing I really did appreciate was the needle drops in this movie. Like I actually really liked the soundtrack, which was apparently curated by Courtney Love.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah,
yeah.
So she actually did do stuff in the 90s.
She did stuff. She did some stuff. But yeah, like beyond just like to get back to the song number, beyond it just being like a waste of money, it was also just narratively a waste of time.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what. It was just a waste of time. Like you could have cut the whole thing. Like none of that narratively arcs anything into anything.
And it was
more
weird.
so that just it meant like a waste of time. Just like aren't y'all supposed to be saving a little girl? Like, should y'all be dancing right now?
I mean, that's so once again, I'll kind of give it the safety net is like this world of this movie is not normal life, you know? So
yeah, and is where it becomes more Bugs Bunny in that sense, where it's
like it's super like like her on the actual tank gun, you know, like in the comic book when she's on the tank gun. I mean, that's wacky. It's like, you know, if that thing shot, she would be, you know, be crazy.
Campy means, but it felt campy.
It was very campy. It was very, very campy. And I think that maybe if they went a more serious route with it and less campy, maybe it would have landed a little bit better, because I feel like the comic book movies of that day, of that time period, the ones that were nitty and gritty were the ones that like people like held on to.
Definitely.
You know, I really appreciate
Point in case Ninja Turtles 1. You know, like there's nothing. Yeah.
I know. I really appreciated the campy moments of it. Like this is my favorite moment of the
whole
she's
movie. Surfing like on a fucking tank. Like
it's so cool, and it has more. Yeah, it definitely has like Deadpool or a Harley Quinn vibes. Like especially from Suicide Squad.
I think that scene hits harder though. I think first of all, I think Chucky's right. That scene would hit harder if the whole movie had been taken a little bit more serious. Like,
yes,
like these type of scenes would hit harder because it's so campy that this scene doesn't really come off like really actiony. But I mean, that was a real action stunt.
Yeah. Yes, and I was gonna mention too, like, I don't know if she did all of her own stunts in this movie. That's something that we should probably look into, because, you know, from the beginning of like, you know, riding on that yak to, you know, doing all of those moves that we see her doing on the tank, it's like that's definitely not a stunt double. You know, you can see her face, like she's doing it.
Put it in the comments. Did Lori Petty do her own stunts in Tank Girl? Put it in the comments.
I don't know if she did all of her own stunts, but I did watch an interview where she told a story about riding on the tank while it was moving, because she had mentioned that like, you know, during rehearsal they were going one speed. It's like we're going like 5 miles per hour, but then when they yell action, all these dudes decided they were gonna go way faster, and then it knocked her off of the tank or off of like the gun, where she almost fell on the wheel. She was just like hanging on for dear life. She was like, I was on there for like 2 minutes because it took a while for the tank to slow down, and also the dude didn't know that she fell. It was a whole thing, but she was at least on the tank while it was driving. So I'm not sure if she did all of her own stunts, but she did some.
Yeah, it was very and I think we can kind of point to, it was very Mad Max the way that they shot this too.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everything that they did out in the desert and the way that it felt, you know, is very, and like all of those, like the tank was real, that truck was real, you know, like these aren't, you know, like stage props.
The jets
like
were
that.
real. No, I'm joking.
The jets did look good though. They did not look bad. Yeah, they did not look bad.
Very Star Foxy.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. Very, you know, futuristic, slick, you know, Star Foxy, Starship Troopers-y.
Yeah, thank God the jets look good, because that scene when they soup up the jet and they soup up the tank, the scene right before that where the lady comes in with the shotgun, is one of the worst scenes to watch, in my opinion, in the whole movie, because she comes in and she's like, what do you want? Blah, 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 blah. And then she hits her over the head with like a ceramic banana or a ceramic piece of fruit or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like, oh.
It doesn't even look like she hits her hard. And she drops her gun, and then she's like, okay, I'll work with you. What's going on? And it's like, we do get a hint though after this that lady was planted there to let them know about the little kid, and so it kind of makes sense that she's like a bad actress. You know what I mean?
Right. She's a bad actress. She's an actress playing a bad actress.
Yes. But it was just like really hard to watch, because that whole scene was just like, it seems like this was just like a complete filler, like between these three. Like, yeah, it was just funny.
Yeah, it was.
So thank God those jets look good after they souped up the tank and the jet, because wow, I needed to be out of that scene.
What did you guys think of the villain though? Played by Malcolm McDowell. I think his name was. It's Khaleesi, right? His name was Khaleesi.
Wasn't his name Malcolm on Heroes?
Oh,
no, it wasn't.
I can't remember.
No, I can't remember what his name was on Heroes. But anyway,
great villain. Always a great villain.
Great villain. But this was bad for him too, because
I agree, Bill.
He, like, everything he did, which this is no fault of his.
I think it's the direction, but you know,
wonky. Yes, it's the directions. I'm so glad you said that, because when he's like breaking the glass in that scene that we just saw, he's like breaking that glass, and the shit doesn't really break right, and he looks absolutely terrified while he's doing it. If Alex,
I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because sorry, I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because it was really hard to take him seriously as a villain. Even when he started to walk on the glass, it was too late. It was too late. Like the damage had been done, because you're right, Bill. It's like he breaks those 3 screens with his hand, then he breaks the glass, I think, that he's holding. Yeah. Look at it. Yeah. Oh.
He's like, this one is probably the worst one. He genuinely wanted to look back, like, did that break?
Like, oh Jesus.
Right there, he's like flinching, like he's like, ugh.
It's a little bit what's the guy's name in Star Wars? That's the whiny baby, the new whiny baby. I'm horrible, and I'm sorry that I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Gleason.
Yeah, like when you first see him have his tantrum, you know what I mean? Like, you don't respect him as much, and you're just like, you're a villain and you're evil, but you have this huge weakness where you have like a huge, like, and I felt like the first introduction of this character in this, you know, in Tank Girl, was him having a fit with his generals, rather than just cutting straight to the point, killing one of them right off the get-go and making it tense. We had to watch him break glass, then make his general walk on the glass. Then he sucks the life out of his general, of course, you know, with, you know, sucking the water out of his body. And then the whole time, it's almost comical that it zooms out, and the whole time, apparently, he hasn't been wearing shoes.
Right.
The whole time, he's just
wearing shoes.
I feel like there's like a
he
scene.
Was wearing shoes at the beginning.
I feel like there's a scene before this where the generals are standing there all drinking water, waiting for him to arrive. And they're like, I wonder if he's going to wear shoes.
He was wearing shoes at the beginning.
Oh, you see? I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Why did you take your shoes off, my guy? Why you want to struggle?
I feel like there was maybe like a scene that they had to cut where he's like dramatically taking off both shoes to show the generals how tough he is, but it just did not land. because yeah, him walking on the glass at the end, it's too late. Like I'm already laughing a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty wild plan to just like suck the blood out of humans and
No, the
turn it
water.
into water.
No, you're
Or,
stuck.
yeah,
And people are 80% water. So
Right.
sucking
So you're
water.
sucking the water.
You get a little blood at the bottom because you inject it into their body. It's the same in the premise of when you're giving somebody a shot. A little bit of like people, y'all know what I'm talking. Nurses out there know what I'm talking about. Shout out to my nurses.
Hey.
Shout out to all my nurses who be extracting water from their patients.
I will say this about the villain though, and I don't know if it's directly from the comics, but probably the scariest moment with him is definitely when he puts her in the tube. For someone who does get a little claustrophobic, not like I'm good on airplanes and stuff like that, but if you put me in a tube where I can't move my arms, like that would be torture for me. Terrifying. And I think that scene was done very well when he, decides to try to break her and put her in this tube, and like she slides all the way down until like she can't move anymore. And then he just closes this door that has this mirror on it so that it seems like she's like stuck in this like never-ending tube. It's like that was pretty terrifying and definitely was probably the scariest moment with him. But like, I need you to be scarier in the finale. I need you to like, and honestly, he really doesn't put up a big fight in the finale,
Well,
like even though
he's half human,
yeah, it's like his head's a hologram.
No,
that's
that
like
makes sense.
the technology.
Yeah.
His body is still his body, and then he's got a robot like gauntlet.
Right.
But who played the scientist who made his body, Alex?
Oh my gosh.
Oh yes. Fucking Asian All-Star James Hong. Yeah, that's
he's out here. He's a real MVP.
Man.
And had a little girl's voice for his translate. I love that.
I really like that too. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so great to see him.
It almost mimics today's social media where everyone tries to find the voice to like do their subtitling. It's like at some point in the future, that was the only voice box he could find, that like translated was like a little girl's voice box, and he just had to rock it,
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, it's like this is you have to use what you got.
Exactly.
What you got, man.
Especially in 2033. Shout out, watch out,
Shout out to
2033.
Coming. How old will I be? Oh, 47. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I did enjoy, like I said, the costuming. I know we're watching this video right now, a clip from the film. The costuming is great because, like, I'm guessing just like in the comic book, you've got all these different, tank girl helmets and stuff that they wear. All these different outfits that like evolve until the end of the actual film. You see almost every character evolve a little bit. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it. I thought that whoever did the costuming, perfect.
Yeah, the costuming was super dope. Yeah, it was definitely a high point of the movie for me too. Yeah, like Lori Petty always looked really cool. And I never really read the Tank Girl comics either. I've more so just like seen some really dope imagery of just like searching online. But she looks like Tank Girl. Like they did a really great job of depicting that style. Especially when in this, in the early 90s, or sorry, late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of the comic book adaptations didn't want to go full comic book because like they thought that some of the comic booky stuff was a little too weird for
it's very true.
It's like, maybe that won't translate cinematically. But these guys weren't afraid to just like dive all the way in. So I appreciate that.
I definitely appreciated that.
Definitely appreciate it.
One standout I did want to mention, actor, and then we can go around the room who you guys thought was your MVP of the movie. But I guess I'm saying my MVP was Booger. He was the dog kangaroo.
The fucking dog. That was your fucking.
Hey,
yeah, I thought he was really, really good. Like I thought his performance was.
Bill,
really
if he was
strong.
good enough to be chosen to become part human, like
he must have been a good dog.
He must have been a great fucking dog. Yeah, like loyal.
Yeah, my old dog Ileana, I felt like she was like the smartest dog in the world, but she would probably be like the dumbest person in the world. You know what I'm saying? I used to always say that, so I like totally feel like he portrayed that well.
Yeah,
he did. He did.
And
he was always there. He was always there to save Tank Girl. You know, he was always like he was the first one to arrive when she was stuck on the shipment that was about
That's
to.
not him.
Is that Booger? No, that was Booger.
That's him.
Yeah.
Booger's the one, yeah, because he's like, I came in.
No.
He's like,
sorry.
He doesn't because I just pulled up the picture of actor isn't playing Booger.
Whoa. I did not know that the dude who plays the senator or congressman in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, that's right.
Is
Mayor
Booger.
Mayor Hale.
Mayor Hale. Son of a bitch. He didn't become mayor at first.
I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what he thought about this film.
Became a senator or congressman, something like that.
I wonder what he thinks about this film. I wonder, like, if he was like to be asked in like a red carpet like interview. Like,
we need that interview. We need that interview.
If I was him, I would be proud because
I bet the first thing out of his mouth is gonna be like, Ice-T got paid fucking ass load.
Like, first thing I'm upset about was that I had more lines than Ice-T and I didn't get paid $1 million.
It happens like that sometimes. Yep.
You know, like you guys got to like and subscribe right now, because if you do, we can start getting these guys on the show.
There you go.
To talk about these parts. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just be like right now. Joining us now, though, to give us an opinion on how shitty it was to work on Tank Girl. Speaking of people who worked on Tank Girl, and as we're talking about actors who was playing Kangaroo, our favorite Kangaroo has to be the jazz man himself.
Oh, okay. All right. There he is.
Bam.
Yeah.
Like, and he looked just like himself. Again, to the prosthetics of this movie, like, it was really, really great. I wish we remembered to look that up and see who did it. But but they did an amazing job, because we should be really saying their name right now.
Yeah, the prosthetics were really great, and Reggie Cathy, R.I.P. He was really, really great as the jazzy kangaroo. Although
he was the leader. He was the leader.
Yeah,
you know?
He was the leader, man. He also
they were a democracy, though. They were a democracy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that stuff around here, man. We had the man oppress us and made us into kangaroos.
Not even at the end of the world. Not even at the end of the world.
At the end of the world, baby. To the end of the world. And
yeah,
back.
He said we're a committee.
You do that voice really good, Bill.
Oh, thank you, brothers. Thank you, brother. It's a lot of watching the television show Oz.
There you go.
That's his best performance, by the way. Oz season 2. To season 3.
Yeah, well, it definitely wasn't the first season where he was
Reggie Cathy, man, rest in peace. We'll never get another like that. We'll never get another brother like him.
Yeah, Reggie Cathy was incredible. And there's Jeff Kober,
Ice-T.
But yeah, like
Reggie Cathy.
who is your MVP of the movie though? Is it? I'm sure it's not
Reggie Cathy.
Oh, Reggie Cathy's your MVP.
Reggie Cathy sacrificed himself.
Okay.
Man. And he kept everything together.
Kangaroos. That's 2 kangaroos in the MVP.
Because Ice-T wanted to kill everybody. This nigga's a dog.
Let's be honest here.
Ice-T was horny.
Ice-T was Raphael. Let's just be honest here. Like, he was that character in the crew that wasn't gonna pray with them. You know what I mean? He didn't pray with them and dance with them. Like, he was sitting on the side, watching them do it. Like, he's got a chip on his shoulder, like, that's his character.
Damn. You're right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Kangaroos.
I'm telling you.
They were kicking ass too.
Yeah. It's funny that you even mentioned that, because like I had reservations even about giving Jeff Kober my MVP, because it does feel like the movie turns into another movie once the kangaroos
turned into a good one.
It turns into like
a better movie,
a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah,
which came out before this.
But it's also, like, again, it just feels like another issue of the comic book. Like, it just, like, because it just like now we're in the kangaroo storyline as opposed to
start this. But did Ninja Turtles literally influence
Ninja Turtles changed the game, yo?
All of Hollywood.
Man. I'm just saying
10 years.
That first film was a film. Like it had highs, it had lows, it had, a climax, had a denouement. Like you were concerned
the score was
for
beautiful.
these turtles. Like you're concerned for these life-size turtles. Like it was a good movie. It was nitty, it was gritty, it was shot well. Like it was very, very good.
Yeah, they did. Man, they did
what also
Guys,
was good.
Check out our episode where we talk about.
That's what I was gonna say. What also was good was the episode that we did on Ninja Turtles. Go check it out right now. Go here. It's probably right there. Right. No, it's right there.
Check it out. Check it out.
Or it's probably right here.
Yeah, it's wherever those links be at, depending on whatever device you watch.
Click them.
You're watching this from.
Subscribe.
But yeah, this was a pretty crazy movie. But we've had a lot of thoughts about it. But I guess it's around that time where we do ask the titular question.
Yeah, you gotta ask the question.
Does it hold? Because at the end of every episode, we vote on films not based on whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, but if it still gives us that same enjoyment that we had the first time we watched.
The criteria simply is it rewatchable? Is it watchable still? That includes like racial things, sexual things, all the things that are not allowed these days.
Yeah. Is there something that makes you feel like, okay, I'm not, I'm never going to watch this. I can't watch this.
Exactly. The other thing is the performance. Performances in the movie. Are the actors good? Do they do a good job? And would it translate the same today? And then number 3 is the sound. You still got to have sound. If you have a movie with no sound, we're just watching shit in 1926. So you got to have sound, and the sound got to be good. Otherwise, it distracts you. So does all this hold up? I mean, well, the question is.
We'll posit it to Chuckie first, since
let me ask you, Chuckie.
Yeah.
Does it hold?
Okay. So I really wanted to hear one of your guys's, like, what you're going to say about the film before I said it, because I'm on the fence. I'm very much on the fence.
Okay. Well, let me, because sometimes I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I make my decision on the spot.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's why we can't do it by ourselves. We can't do it by ourselves. We need somebody here. So, because you might give me a different perspective, and I might decide to change my mind.
Okay.
Guys, go ahead and check out our the shadow video to see
exactly what we're talking. Yeah, seriously, in mid-show. Shout out to LeRon. I almost said Leroy, but anyway, I'll ask myself the question:
Does it hold? Billiam doesn't hold it.
My first initial reaction was, no, this movie doesn't hold up. But then I thought about it, and it kind of does. I'm going to say it kind of holds up.
Okay.
Because this movie did a lot of things that no movie had done before. And now a lot of the stuff that is going on, I mean, like, this movie was Harley Quinn movie.
It was 100%.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't even have a Harley Quinn movie if it wasn't for Tank Girl. We might not have a Harley Quinn if there wasn't for Tank Girl, because Tank Girl was a comic book before the animated series came out, if I'm not mistaken, which is the creation of Harley Quinn from the animated series. So I have to say it does hold up. It's unfortunate because I didn't think it would, and it's not a great movie. Please, people, this is not the criteria for does it hold up.
That's why I said that the 60 was it 68% that they got.
Right.
I think that that's a solid D.
60,
you know what I mean? So like
63.
63. So like
closer.
Yeah. I feel like it's like right where it needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess before you answer, just I guess to help you make your
Okay.
decision.
I mean, I will ask Alex the question.
Okay.
Does it hold?
I like it. Like appreciate like a lot of what you said about it, like just sort of paving the way for a lot of movies, but I do not feel like it holds up. Like I as much as I talked about Jeff Kober and like joked about like how he's my MVP. Lori Petty, like this movie is like Lori Petty is the best thing about the movie. Like her performance is really, really great.
I don't even think I mentioned my MVP, but she was my MVP. She was definitely my MVP.
Yeah. Like she was incredible. Like she was really great at the comedic parts, and just like the best part that gives this movie the most rewatchability. But the story is such trash. Like I don't know, like the story is just like
I don't care if this is off the.
And if you guys don't recall,
Alex, I have never read the comic book, but that is a shitty story. Regardless if it's on the comic book or if it's on film, that was a shitty story. You're absolutely right.
And this is coming from Alex, who's a true writer, guys. So just remember that. So
Alex has written stuff.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it. Other people might enjoy it or whatever. The story itself, but. Yeah, I just felt like it was kind of meandering, and again, like it just wasn't narratively like a movie. It felt like I was just like watching, like the issues of a comic book. But I'm very excited about just like when I was watching, I was like, man, this would make such a great movie today. Like
yes,
and I'm gonna ask like like after we do our votes, like just a question about what you guys would think the movie would look like today, but yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like it didn't hold up. Like it just makes me excited about like what it could be, but like I'm probably never gonna watch this movie again.
So you're making my job hard now when I could have just answered in the beginning. Had my opinion.
You should have just gone first.
Yeah, I was.
Because the question is,
make it hard for
the question is, Charles, does it hold?
I'm going to break this tie, and because I have to, and I'm going to say that it does stand up. And I'm going to agree with everything that's been said, but put a little bit more cherry on top. I honestly feel that the amount of power, even though there were times in this film where, she was trapped by the villain or anything like that, the amount of power that she brought to the screen as a female character it wasn't seen anywhere else. Like I'm sure, we'll get some comments in the below of other films that were doing this during the time, but, she literally has a scene where she's in the back of a truck and the three guys are going to want to rape her. Like, that's why they kept her alive. She plays along with that and gets the guy to think that she's going to give him a blowjob. And then she just breaks his neck with the other guys right there. And all they had to do is pull their gun out and shoot her right then and there. But her character's so badass that like, it brings something different to the screen that, like Alex was saying, if it was made today, this is almost the Harley Quinn that should have been made. It should have been a little bit more grittier. It should have been, her not killing aliens from outer space or anything like that, but actually like having power, and not just being, someone that just like struts around with a baseball bat, so to say. I think it does stand up. I don't think there was any lines that I can remember that, in our culture today that wouldn't be, delivered well. I mean, I think that every, bit of her being sexualized or there being a chance of her being, like raped or assaulted or anything like that, she handles it super well, from like coming out of the tank and he's just like, say I won. And she's like, I could say one thing. You got a booger in your nose the size of blah, blah, blah. and you could use this finger to pick it out. And her middle finger comes out from underneath, where she's supposed to be tied up. And it's like and then she's like, I win. I mean, it's like her character is just very powerful. And there's not one moment in this whole movie where I'm worried about her character.
Right.
Like, I always feel like she's going to figure out a way out, even if she goes a little bit crazy in order to get there. So other than seeing those steel cords at the end, which, guys, let me know if you guys see that, in the movie, in the comments, because I definitely was paying attention at the end, where maybe some people look away from the screen and stuff, but those are the only things that kind of took me out of the movie. But does it stand up? I still enjoyed watching it just as much as I enjoyed when I was watching it when I was young. I didn't have a problem sitting through the whole film. It wasn't too long. It didn't, or anything like that for myself. So for me, it stands up.
Good. I'm glad you agreed with the right person.
Hey.
No, I love it when we have it where it's not just a unanimous choice. There's a little bit of discourse there, but it's official, guys. The Tank Girl holds up. People have spoken.
And I'm just telling you right now, I don't know if you've watched the show before, people, but this is official. Don't DM me, don't at me. This is it. Tank Girl holds up. This is official.
It's official. It's official on the books.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like Alex is saying, they revamp this movie just because of the talk that we had today.
That's it. Movie studios definitely watch this show.
Yeah. Like, before we get out of here, I just want to ask real quick, if they were going to make a Tank Girl today, who's your Tank Girl?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sticking with OG. I want her back. I still think she can handle this role.
Petty back.
I still think, period. I still think she can handle this role. I still think it would be, that much better. Maybe just get a better director than what they had when they did this film, and I think it would go a lot farther for sure.
Okay,
Lori Petty. Very short answer for me.
Also, Lori Petty.
Lori Petty.
Okay. Yeah, she's got to see this because she's getting some accolades.
All right. I mean, I would just say, I mean, damn, I don't want to be.
No, do it. Come on, Alex, do it.
Oh,
I mean, who?
Lori Petty. But I would go with Samara Weaving. She's Australian. She's stuff.
You got a photo?
Man, yeah. She was in Babylon. She was in let's see. She was in Ready or Not.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that it? Babylon? She's just a white lady. I don't know. I don't know if it really works.
but yeah, she's
really
Australian. She was in Ready or Not. She's been in, like, action movies and stuff. And like, if they were gonna make it actually set in Australia and make it just another movie, not necessarily a remake of this, but just a remake adaptation of the comic book, she might be good. I don't know.
No. I mean, like, whoever it is that could play Tank Girl, we don't know her. She doesn't exist in Hollywood yet, like, as far as a name. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to use somebody who...
I mean, that works. You didn't know who she was until I mentioned her. So that
what about the actress?
Because she's a white female actress. I have no recollection of any names of white female actresses. I don't know why.
I've got a decent one. That you guys might know. I'll throw it in the mix. I don't know her name, but I'm sure you're going to know who I. So she's I believe she's a British actress that is in Sex Education. Okay. Have you guys seen Sex Education yet?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know who you're talking about. The woman who looks like Margot Robbie.
Exactly.
This girl looks like Margot Robbie.
It's funny that you say that.
Just pointed out.
There is a thing online that says, like, oh, isn't it funny how Samara Weaving, what's her name, and Margot Robbie and Jamie Presley all look exactly the same.
Jamie Presley literally, like, it. So Jamie Presley is a vampire, and she made Margot Robbie and Samara Weaving and Emma Mackey. She made all of those into vampires, and they all share a little bit of her now. I don't know if y'all know that. Those are little Hollywood stories. But tell me right now, Tell me right now. We're about to put up on the screen. I want you to tell me which one is which, Chuck.
Okay.
I want you to tell me which one is Margot Robbie, which
Okay.
one's Jamie Presley, which one is Samara Weaving, and which one is Emma Mackey from the show that you were referring to.
I don't have to remember all these names. Okay.
Here you go. Question is, which one is so we're gonna go from left to right.
This is too easy.
Yeah,
because
this is a little easier because
this is easy because I know all these movies. So I mean, like right off the bat, you got Margot Robbie top left. You've got the sex education actress on the right, top right.
Emma Mackey.
Then you've got the girl that was popular in the 2000s on the bottom left, with the raspy voice. Yep. And then whoever that last name is that last girl.
Yeah, Samara Weaving. That was my choice.
They look like they're all sisters. That's what it is. It's like they're very, very similar in look. But I feel like
a meta comedy with starring all four.
That would be interesting.
We could write that. We could write that tomorrow.
I would love it if all three, those other three actresses, had cameos in the new Barbie movie. That would be great.
And then Ken's head would explode.
Because there are multiple Barbies. I don't know.
Ken's head would explode.
We have a sequel.
For real? Dude, he would lose his mind. I'm gonna have a lot of work.
But Chuckie, is there anything that you want to plug before you get out of here? Any place that you want to tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah. Check out my podcast, Toking with the Stars. It's on YouTube. It's on Instagram, and then that's at Toking with the Stars. And then check out my personal page at Chuckie_Fuocco, and that's Chuckie with an IE _Fuocco. It's a lot of cannabis content and comedy and good stuff. So definitely check me out on both of those.
You guys should check it out. It's all going to be in the video description. It's he's got some really awesome content on there for sure.
Appreciate you.
It's I'm watching the channel, man. I mean the what you call it, the IG page, man. It's been growing and growing. Much props to you.
Thank you.
Love what
Thank you.
Love what you're doing over there.
He's a real MVP.
Appreciate you, boys.
Chuckie
Appreciate
is the real MVP. With that fucking dope ass camera there, we look like we were guests on your show. Look at
hey, come on.
It looks amazing over there, man.
We'll get you hooked up. We'll make it happen.
But guys, thanks for watching. Episodes of Does It Hold Up come out every other Monday. Check out our social media in the channel description. Stay safe, my little tank girls, and may the force be with you.